So delighted today to introduce to you a colleague that I'm meeting online from Costa Rica, and that is the operatic soprano Ivette Ortiz. And I'm speaking with Ivette today from her home in Costa Rica, San Jose. Correct, Ivette?
Yes,
And
nice
she
to meet
just
you, everyone.
she just finished a really intense week of performing and teaching, because Yvette is not only an operatic lyric soprano with a wonderful thriving career nationally and internationally, but she is also a full-time voice professor at the University of Costa Rica in San Jose, where she's not only the full professor with a full studio, but also head of the voice department, correct?
Correct, all
So
that.
she has no time at all. And in fact, we were going to have this interview last week. We had to, or a few weeks ago, and then I had to cancel, and then she had to cancel, and now we're meeting finally.
Finally here.
Yes, and I'm delighted to speak with Yvette. And one of the things that I really found interesting, Yvette, in your bio, is that you champion, as I did in my career, you championed the national music of Costa Rica, of
Yeah.
the native music of the composers from your country, and do recitals featuring composers, and in particular women composers. Is that correct?
Yes, I do. I do both. We don't have as many Costa Rican composers like alive right now.
Yes,
But I do feature alive Costa Rican composers, like male and female, both.
yes, yes. And I think that's fantastic, because I think as opera singers and as classical voice singers, we are tasked with singing, in many languages and in many styles of maybe 500 years range, unlike any other singer out there.
Yeah.
From Renaissance music to Baroque music to classical music and then modern music. And when we're singing the music that's close to us, especially new music or music that even if we knew the composer, we get a chance to be very personal in the art song form, and share with our audience our authentic, unvarnished self in through the lens of these songs. What would you say to that statement?
Well, I think that it's definitely easier to relate to words when you speak the language. And
Yes,
even though when we are singers, we have to study languages, it's like nothing like singing in your own language, your native language.
correct.
It's easier just to find the flow of the music and the language. Sometimes, a lot of Costa Rican music speak about like the landscape, or speak about
Mm,
like how something in the summer, which is actually like the opposite of summer in the States. We have our summer in actually like December, January, and February when you are like full winter. So just like picturing all that landscape makes you like closer to the music, and is easier to relate to what the composer and the lyrics are.
correct. Yes, yes, I agree. And of course, the language being primary, when you're singing in Spanish, but Spanish from Costa Rica,
Yeah.
which is a little bit different than Spanish from Spain, isn't that so?
It is. It
Yes,
is. The
yes,
pronunciation is different,
yes,
and the declination, just like the flow of the language, is very
yes,
different.
yes.
And that is one of the beauty of the language, is like there's from here to Argentina is just a very different how we speak the language.
Ah,
The one that is like closer to how we speak Spanish is actually Colombia, is what is
ah.
like the most similar.
I see. I see. That's wonderful. Wonderful. And you've been teaching at the University of Costa Rica in the music department for the last four years or so now. Is that correct?
No, actually,
Longer.
I start working at the university in 2009.
Oh, wow.
2009, I recently graduated from the university, and just a space opened up. I started teaching there, and I taught for 2 years, and then I got a scholarship. I was supported by the university, and so I went to Arizona to get my master's and my DMA, and I
Yes.
came back. So I was at Arizona from 2011 to 2016.
Yes.
So I have been back since 2016. Uh, yeah, time flies by, but I actually started teaching at the university in 2009.
I see. But as far as being the vocal, the head of the vocal department, that's in the last 4 years?
Yeah, 4 years. I started in the middle of the pandemic
I
in
see.
2020. Yeah.
Wow, wow. Now, also, just before, I don't want to forget, uh, during those years, you also sang L'Asir d'Amore. You sang Adina with Stefano Di Beppo. You did a performance with him, correct?
Yes, so it's Stefano. Yes.
Yes.
I met Stefano Di Beppo, yeah, in 2015. I was still studying. I was finishing my DMA at the University
Ah,
of Arizona, and I
wow.
came here for the summer. It's an interesting story. I came here for the summer,
To
and
Costa
actually,
Rica.
yeah.
Aha.
So I was studying there. I came here to sing Elixir, and 1 week before opening night, we were double cast, and 1 week before opening night, the tenor that I sang with quit.
Oh,
And
wow.
they bring a tenor, and that tenor is my husband now.
Oh, my goodness. That is really a huge story. Oh, my goodness
He
gracious.
was in Philadelphia at the moment, finishing AVA, and we met here. We fell in love, and now he lives here with me. So
Wow, that's very beautiful. Very, very beautiful. Very beautiful. So Yvette, we were talking as before we started recording as voice teachers. Um, I also had an opera career many years ago. So of course and I grew up really in a home that was all about being professional musicians. I mean, my mother was a professional opera singer. My father was a choir director, composer, and there was always performing. I was performing since I'm 6 years old. So really my whole life I've been in theater. The last 8 to 10 years I haven't been in theater, and it's like, is this really true? I mean, how can this be? But in any case, as a teacher, I started teaching at the beginning of my opera career, and I've not stopped since. I developed a talent for it, didn't know I had it, a talent for singing, for teaching. But we were talking about today's student and how I recently posted, and I'd like your comments on it just for a moment, kind of put your voice teacher hat on.
yeah, of course.
I know you have a lot of upcoming performances. In fact, before I do that, I just want to congratulate you. You're going to be doing Dritte Dame, Erste Dame, First Lady in
Yeah,
Salzburg coming up in Costa Rica, right?
yeah, in July.
In July, which is so nice. I did Dritte Dame
Oh yeah,
in Zurich with the Zurich Opera many years ago with a
it's a
fantastic.
lot of fun. These ladies are a lot
The
of
ladies
fun.
are wonderful. And also you're doing Magda in La Rondine.
Yeah, at the end of the year.
Now, that's going to be also in Costa Rica.
It is going to be in Costa Rica.
Will that be your first Magda?
It will be my first Magda.
Ah, bravo. Bravo.
Thank you.
I think it'll be
And
perfect for you.
it's gonna be, thank you. It's gonna be a little bit different, but we are very excited. We are gonna do it with piano, and it's actually a new upcoming company, and we are actually bringing a coach from the Torino, the Teatro Regio di Torino.
From Italy.
Yeah, from
People
Italy.
that
I
don't know.
met him a few years ago. I met him in Luxembourg. I was doing a festival there.
Yes.
So it's gonna be a lot of fun. And yeah, so we were talking. The students right now, and I think especially, I don't know if you agree, but after the pandemic, we as teachers, we deal with another set of tools that we need to
Yes.
have to
Correct.
deal with anxiety, to deal
Yes.
with a lot of
Yes.
things that like probably before we didn't, it was not enhanced like it is now. It's just like the
Much more
rush of,
anxiety,
life ears.
somatic
Everything is
issues.
so quick. And you do anything and in 5 seconds it's online. So you cannot even make mistakes. I mean, of course we do mistakes, we are human beings,
Yes.
but I think there's a lot of pressure for people because everything has to be up online and everything is very exposed. And that exposition leads to students to have a lot of anxiety and a lot of fear also.
I
It's
mean,
just like,
there's always fear and anxiety being a performer, but what you're
yeah.
saying, and which I hadn't thought about as clearly as you have articulated, I love your point, is that so much of what you're doing now as a young singer goes online, where it's even more scrutinized and more pulled apart, and you have to go online if you want to, like so many of the, like, before a competition you have to pre-submit a video to even qualify, as I sometimes I adjudicate online submissions, and these are pre-auditions to see if you're going to go to the next level where you're finally going to be seen in person, for example.
And
So you're right.
that just the fact that you have to do a video, it's another game, it's another skill,
Yes.
because I feel that like the more skilled you are with the technology, the more opportunities you have to be heard, because it's not everybody who can record without like the proper microphone. Like, for example, I'm one that I just like what is it, how do I say this in English, I saturate the microphone.
Yes.
So it's very hard for me to record. So if I
Yes.
don't have like somebody that helped me, just like it doesn't sound good.
Uh,
And it's not
exactly.
it's not how it sound in real life, but
Exactly.
that's not real life. So it's very interesting. And I don't know if you had to teach during the pandemic, but for me as a teacher, and this is another thing that was very interesting to me, I had students, for example, that she sound very well on the microphone, and she's a coloratura actually.
Ah,
And so it was a long time during the pandemic that I had to teach like that, because we had like no options in the university, we had to do it like that. And then when I finally saw her live, I was like, interesting, because
mhm.
there was no metal. I mean, we had to work a lot in her voice, like going through an orchestra, because she was singing just with her phone. She was singing like not even an iPhone, but so yeah, the way that she was singing, like it sounded great in the phone, but live it was not the same. She didn't have like the ring that you needed to
She
go to
didn't
an
project.
orchestra.
She didn't have
So yeah, so it,
projection.
it was beautiful, but very small.
Yeah.
I was like, oh,
Well, I,
okay.
I mean, this is something actually I've been speaking about from the beginning of my career, with students. Is, listen, they would come to me and say, I want to sound like so and so. I said, so and so's that you're hearing that you like, this is done in a studio. I'm talking about more the musical theater pop. What you're hearing there is not even their voice, and you want to sound like something that isn't even real. No, no, no. That's a studio effect voice. That isn't the real voice. And the same to some degree with classical singing today. We might have, and I don't want to mention names, there are some very famous sopranos today with tiny voices who record beautifully
Yeah,
because their voice is tiny. The smaller your voice is, the better
it's easier to
the
record.
microphone. A big voice with many colors, you have to have the right balance, you have to have the right, it takes much more effort. So yeah, you have to have the live singing, and you have to attune your ears to understand that. uh yeah, it's a big issue. Hopefully you're able to help that student.
No, it's actually well, it has passed, like after that, it's like 4 years already.
Yeah,
So she's doing great.
of
She's doing
course,
great
of
now.
course.
But like
Yeah,
after the
yeah,
pandemic, I had to deal with that kind of stuff. Like, oh, that is actually not how she sounded,
right.
but because of how it has to be in that moment. I mean, they didn't have an equipment. I didn't have an equipment either. I tried to like buy a good microphone so I could
Yes,
teach the students, and we were doing, all of us, we were doing, whatever we could to survive during the pandemic, because
right.
nobody knew what was going to happen. But we
Yes,
had to
yes,
adjust, adapt. And I think that somehow we appreciate more the contact with
yes,
people
yes.
like after the pandemic.
A-
So
Absolutely, absolutely.
I
Yeah.
don't know if you agree with this, but I also feel like, for me, I feel that we as singers is very easy to get in our head. It's just like
Oh,
to focus on just like me, 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 me. And somehow the students give you another perspective. It's not about me, it's about them. And I love teaching because of that. I just feel that complements my singing so well, because I try to teach by example. So like being professional, and just like being a person, and having
yes,
a high ethics when you are performing, just like that your students are watching you, just like
yes,
they know what you are doing. And I think that that balance out my life very well, like teaching and performing. And it's just like they complement each other very well. But sometimes I think that everybody at some point in their career. So like I wish I was doing like so and so, like more than you have. But sometimes I think I just I don't think that just singing will be good for me. Just
right.
like
I,
get lost in your
I
own
think
mind.
your point is really well taken, and I know when I was in career and I was always teaching, it was also that balance, and also finding through teaching. Of course, we're also uh, deepening our own technique
Yeah, totally.
and our own issues, so that it's a lovely thing to be able to do it, provided we don't have too much, so many students that vocally we get fatigued because we're talking too much or demonstrating too much. Of course, that's a whole nother thing. um
Yeah.
yeah, but we were also talking briefly about my feelings today, that in general, in the last really 98% of or more of students that I teach, who no matter what age, even a child, I find that there are just almost standard tensions, chronic and or not so obvious tensions in the breathing system, in the mouth and the jaw hinge, in the ways of articulation, so the lips, tongue, the diction, that traditional bel canto methods are not always able to address, and that this is where you need a broader mind body voice, some other
You need more awareness of
aware,
your
yeah,
body.
yeah, the body awareness. I do that a lot in my own work. I have a dance background as well, uh, and had worked somatically and mind body awareness for many years. So that's one of the things I do in addition to teaching the bel canto math principles, is because I mean, if your head neck balance is off, or if your diaphragmatic region is locked, or your chin and your jaw are already having some issues, if those things aren't addressed, there's two things: you can go to a speech pathologist, or you can come to me. You come to me, where I kind of do a lot of different things all at once for that student, so that they can regain, if they had it once, they will regain the flexibility and elasticity. If they never had it, they'll have more of it. And then all the techniques that we learn, that are going 500 years of bel canto, it's a scientific body of training that goes many hundreds of years ago, from vocal scientists, from great
Yeah.
teachers who transmitted from student to student, and continues. With myself, I was lucky to receive those traditions from Virginia Zeani, who you may have heard about. You can see her on YouTube, Romanian Italian soprano. I'm not sure exactly. I'd love to find out your training, but so in your work, are you able, or do you feel that you have the tools, or that you at least know to recognize, to give to the student? By the way, these are things you can do to help the jaw relax more, or the breath
Well,
strengthening. How would you what, or maybe your students don't need those things. I don't know.
no, I think like every student needs those things. I don't know. Life is a funny thing. How you ended up like having what you need, sometimes like not what you wanted, but you get what you need.
That's so true.
And I think in 2000, I don't know, 2000 something, 2001 maybe, I took a meditation class.
Oh, very good. Very good.
Yeah. And since then I have been meditating, but there was a time in my life where I became a teacher of stress techniques, how to deal with the stress. And so I was part of the Art of Living Foundation,
Oh,
and I
yes.
was
Yes.
I was a
Familiar
teacher
with that.
yeah. So I was a teacher for years there, and I stopped
Wonderful.
teaching that, but like the knowledge that you have, it stays with you.
Yes.
So I I mean I don't think that I have been able to teach and have a performing career without meditation, because sometimes it's exhausting.
Not
So
sometimes, like a lot.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I actually, like I'm working at the university, and sometimes I have like 15 minutes, and those 15 minutes I use them to meditate. And then I just like, it's a refresher. It's just
Yes.
like taking a
That's
power,
wonderful. Yes.
yeah, a power walk or something, just like give
Yes.
you back your energy and your clarity. And I use that with the students. So
Wonderful. Wonderful. Yes.
I,
Yes.
yeah, I make them, just like some techniques to just like some pranayamas, just to direct the energy and
Yes.
just to activate the diaphragm, and just to make more active your breathing. And that is actually funny. I have a student who he doesn't need like fire, because he's like all fire. So with him, for example, I have to use like the opposite. It's just like breathing techniques about how to calm your mind, and just like how to center, because he has like so much energy. It's just like everywhere, just
Yeah.
like
Too much.
energy
Too
like
much.
going, yeah, just like going everywhere. And that's great, but still, like, if you can just like bring all that energy just to the center, and just like direct that in your voice, it would be great. So I think that part of our job is to see what the student needs in particular. So
Totally.
some
Each
of
one is
them
individual.
so different. And
Individual.
when you were talking about like tension in the jaw, I also thought about we women, and how it's related to our ability to deliver a baby, and how the tension in the jaw is related to your tension in the pelvis. um and just like how something, I had also a student who had uh a lot of tension, and we were working about that, and how that actually affected her personal life. So
Exactly.
it's a very important, but I do think that the more you know as a teacher of how everything is related, and it's not just about seeing it, but because how you need to be whole as a person, then it is easier to have your art be whole, and be you know just healed to
I love
take it.
it. You say it so well, and it is one of the things that I talk about a lot in my work with students in person, and a little bit on my channel on Sure Voice, is this my holistic approach, the whole
Approach.
person, and bringing in the various aspects of mind, body, soul, disciplines that I think singers benefit from today. In particular, like you mentioned, meditation is something I started also many years back, and then hatha yoga, and then Alexander technique and Tai Chi and Qigong, and all these things, are there. And not every teacher has the ability to tune in those ways, but it sounds like you do, and so your students are very fortunate that not only are you actively performing, but that you have this holistic approach and to teaching them, and that's so beautiful. They're very fortunate.
It is. Thank you. I hope that they are. It's something that I enjoy a lot, and I believe firmly that, like as much tools you have to deal with the stress, and just like to be centered is just like better for your life and
Yeah.
better for your singing. When you were like telling all the techniques, I mean, I admire. I wish I had a class that I could take in Alexander technique. I have taken some Qigong classes in like online in yoga as well, but it's just like I think that adds to your performing and
Yeah.
to your life.
I don't give that to my students. I'm just saying that I have my own personal journey is one that I always found those things helpful for me. And
yeah,
that when I'm with a student, I tune in. I have a kinesthetic intuition. I tune into the student, and because I also do healing, energy healing, some of the adjustments that I give the student will help them
I see.
in a way that will inform their body much in the same way in the adjustment as a Alexander teacher might do, or a very skilled hatha yoga teacher may adjust you a little bit
Yeah, it's
so
true.
that you can feel it. But yeah, it's to be a teacher. It can be very consuming. It's you're doing both. You're singing and you're teaching, so you really have to find your balance so that you can do both. Now, I wanted to ask you, because first of all, I didn't even realize that Costa Rica had a national opera, or I didn't know much. To me, Costa Rica means beaches, pura vida, beautiful. This is all my rich friends go and have a home there or something and relax and enjoy. I didn't know that. Oh, there's opera there, So can you tell us what in the university is the department able to put on opera productions, or is it concert scenes, or what?
Yeah, it is important to talk about that. So Costa Rica, yes, we have the beach very close by, but like we live in a valley. Me in San Jose, it's a valley.
Okay.
So I could be at the beach at 1 hour and a half approximately, but
Nice.
it's not. Yeah, I don't live at the beach. The country has one opera company, but it's kind of difficult. It's not really an opera company. It is, but it's not. But because I mean, they are able to just put one production a year. So it's very little.
Yes.
And I mean, one production a year for a country is way too little.
Yeah.
So when it's time for everybody to audition, when there's auditions happening, it's I have a friend who said that is the Hunger Games, which I thought that it was hilarious. So like it's actually very accurate. The Hunger Games.
Yeah.
Anyway, so since I came back from the States, I have been trying to give the students more opportunities. So usually at the university, we didn't have, when I was a student many years ago, we didn't have the opportunities to have like full productions.
Okay.
I think like the first one that we did when I came back, it was like 5 years ago, maybe. We did like a Viale di Matrimonio. So my minor is actually directing, like stage directing.
Oh, very nice. We share that too.
Oh yeah.
I actually got my
Interesting.
master's degree as stage directing from Indiana University
Oh
in
wow,
Bloomington.
I love it. I
Yeah, I
mean,
love it too.
for other reasons, I'm not able to do it anymore because I have a full studio and you cannot do everything.
No,
Uh, but I did it for 3 years, I think. So we were able to do it. So we did the full stage and double cast La Cambiale di Matrimonio. We have been trying to do like full stage productions once a year for the moment.
I see.
And so we have that, and we have like the scenes program, which is,
Yes.
just little scenes for the ones that cannot be in the production. So
Yeah.
it has been a journey of just like raising the level of the students, but I think it's actually going great. And last year, so we did La Cambiale. We after that, I did a version of Magic Flute for kids.
Ah,
So we
nice.
did like a reduced version. It was fun. Very low budget, but we were able to do it. And then we were going to do Così fan tutte, I think.
Oh.
I got the budget and everything, and then pandemic happened.
Ah,
So suddenly I'm in, online teaching them because he wanted to like me
ay,
playing in
ay,
the
ay.
piano, like
Oh,
red sheets, and it was crazy, but we survived. And last year, I have like a moment that I don't remember during the pandemic. It was very overwhelmed. I had, a 5-month-old baby and teaching online. I was going crazy. But after that, last year we did Die Fledermaus.
ah.
So that was a lot of fun. And now
In
they are,
in uh, in Spanish or in German?
no, we did it in German, music in German and dialogues in Spanish.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Wow. Wow. Wow.
so they are doing that this year. We are doing it in collaboration with the Youth Symphony Orchestra, which is another institute. It's not the university, so it's another one. So it's a very nice collaboration in a bigger theater. And at the end of the years, we are doing the impresario. So we're doing well, actually. We're trying to
Yes. Yes.
just like settle down to do at least one production a year, and hopefully we're going to be able to move to one each semester.
That would be wonderful. Well, it
Yeah.
sounds like things are definitely improving for your students and the university. Because the university itself, from the little I researched on it, is apparently very well known for being an international center for research.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, but not necessarily so famous for music.
No, it's not. No, it's not very famous. However, it is very important in Central America.
Ah, I see.
This is where people come in Central America to study music.
Oh, I see though. That's fascinating.
Yeah, so we have a lot of international students. I
Yes.
have between 2 and 3 Nicaraguan students,
Yes.
and the school has a lot of students from El Salvador and Honduras. Guatemala not as much, but we have had, and definitely Nicaragua. We have a lot of students from Nicaragua, and we
So
have had some from Panama as well.
fantastic, fantastic. And before we leave this subject, I have another question for you, and then I want to ask you one more question. I think we're
Yeah,
almost
of course.
at the end. But as an educator and training, young singers, you're still young too, but for
I like to believe so. I don't think that
I
I'm
think you look
that
very
young
young.
anymore, but
You look very young to me. What do you feel is the most important, or some of the most important things that obviously I won't mention. Well, say the obvious. What are the things that you feel a student needs to prepare, to feel, to be prepared for, if they have the talent, if they have the voice, if they have the nervous system, if they have some kind of support system, because without all these things, you really can't have a career. If you have no support system, like someone helping you financially or some kind of family member at least supporting you. You need that because our profession is so difficult, and it's only 1% of 1% that even get their foot in the door, let alone a sustainable career. When you're teaching, are you training students for a career or to be competent classical singers in Costa Rica? What is your objective in your current position?
That is a very interesting question. I think in my case, I try to see the profile of the student,
Yes,
because not everybody is made to go abroad
I agree.
and sing or even study. So I try to guide them through what is best for them according to what they want, and their personality. So I have students who, for example, I have a great voice. They are not very academic. So I know that, like the options for them will not be going to pursue a master's. So they have to really train hard to try for a opera studio or for a place that is more like a conservatory
Yes,
kind of
correct,
thing.
correct.
I also know that I have students that are more interested in teaching. So I try to make them like proficient singers and to know how to work technique, not just for themselves, but for others. And I think that I try to encourage a lot during the studio class to be able to comment. I have like rules in my studio class where the first comment that you do is like positive, and then you can say if they could improve something. But the first thing that you have to do is not allowed to say just like, oh, that was very nice. That doesn't work. That doesn't help anybody.
Horrible.
Yeah, it's like, oh well, yeah, everybody is nice, but that is not the point.
It's
And
dismissive. It's rather
yeah,
dismissive.
yeah, and I was telling them, when I was in the States, one of the things that I did that I think helped me a lot was to force myself to be able to have comments for like even the highest level, because there was a lot of people with a lot of level in the States, but you're always able to improve something. And in that way, I was able to just like be objective about performers. And I tell them that, and I tell them it's not just because if you understand what they are doing, you're going to understand what you are doing, but also because not everybody here is going to be a performer. Some of you guys are going to be teachers, believe it or not, because some of them have clarity about it, some of them don't have clarity. But I think I trained them what they gave me. If they gave me their full and they said like, this is what I want to be, I go all the way with them.
If they
But
have
if
it though, because
yeah,
if they don't have it, we have to guide them. If they have what it takes, there's many, many things. If they have what it takes, it's not enough to say, I want this fully.
no, of course. I mean,
I
they
mean,
have to have discipline, and there's an amount of talent that has to go. But I also believe that, I'm just, who are you or me or anybody to say like you are not gonna make it?
no, no, I would never say that. No, I would never say that. I don't mean it that way. I don't mean it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But
you want to go 100% with the student who gives you 100%. You're going with them as much as you can, and with
I try to be as honest as I can
exactly.
regarding, like if they said like, I want this, I said like, well, you have to work like the triple that you are doing right now if you really want this. Or if I feel that they are not very mature, like because of age or whatever, I said like, well, maybe the right path for you, you have to go to some festivals first, and then you can see what is
Oh yes,
outside and how it works, and then we can plan. I
exactly.
try to personalize a lot with them and just try
Exactly.
to guide them to the path that they want to go. So I
Yes.
give them my full to all of them, but just knowing what they want, because some of them are not sure. I mean, we have a pre-university program,
Ah,
so which, they have to decide if continue or not. And then sometimes they're like, are you sure? I just feel that, you don't know if you want this, and somehow
right,
like
right,
you
right.
want another kind of life, and you can feel it. And
Yes,
you can
yes.
also feel the students that are like, all the way, and I search for this, and they have like always questions. It's like, can I do this? Can I do that? Can I sing this? Can I sing that? And then because in your career and in my career, we have had classmates and friends that they just are left behind
Yes.
for many different reasons.
Correct,
It can
correct.
be, yeah, as you were saying, it takes courage, it takes perseverance, just like, and somehow you just have to love it so much that no matter how, you're just gonna stay and be
Yes.
just like, I tell my students that, I was told, like, it was too late for me. So like, okay. And, I took that and said like, well, I will never forget that. And I decided not to believe that. And
Yeah.
well, too late for what? For maybe having your career, maybe, but you are not asking me if that's what I wanted with my life. So I think it's very complex. You just have to be a little bit mad, a little bit crazy in this career, and just like keep going. And
Well,
you
again,
know,
as you say, your career can manifest in many different ways.
yeah.
And the idea of going, I always tell my students, you go, those who are coming to me with that intention. Rather, I also deal with a lot of voice healing. In other words, I use the work that I do also for personal healing, personal balance, not only for career purposes. I don't have only career people coming to me. This
Yeah.
makes it interesting, but certainly, you want to go in progression. You're not going to like, I'm going to go now and audition for the Metropolitan Opera. No, I actually, you're not going to do that. And first you enter the local competitions and see how you feel in the competition, and then you'll take a local concert. And then if you haven't been given a local, you build it up because you have to train your nervous system, right? You have to train
So
your
much more
nervous
than
system.
that also.
I
I
mean,
think
you have to train
that's
and you have to see who recommends you to another thing.
I think like what you're saying, it's also it's very interesting, because I feel that because of how things are now, like everything is online.
Yeah,
And because like they have like the Met HD and all that, it just
right.
like looks so close to you that somehow it's like going from the classroom to there. And I'm like, no, 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 there's a lot of steps that
Huge,
you have to do.
huge. Exactly,
But it's
exactly.
just there. So,
Yeah,
what is keeping me from just going from here to there? So like, well,
yeah.
yeah,
And that's
so
another
just like that.
that's another issue with the delusion that we're dealing with our students, is everything feels so immediate that a student might, if they haven't gone to a live event, and many people don't go to live events anymore to hear,
That's
they
true.
they get a wrong idea of what's really happening on that stage. We know because we know what it is live. So there's always, have to always tell me what that was on the screen, but we don't really know how the voice was in the hall. We don't know, you're not really seeing or hearing it correctly. You're seeing something for the screen.
Yeah, yeah.
Even the live in HD depends on the sound engineer.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
And by the way, I'm going to have a little pet peeve here. It appears to me, from having now seen several HDs and heard radio recordings, it seems that lately the sound engineer from the Met is turning down the mic for the leading sopranos, because I don't hear them as nicely as I hear the men voices.
Really?
I don't know what's going on. Yeah, when we did Forza del Destino, with Lisa Davidson.
Uh-huh.
She was singing. I swear to you, the tenor was singing all of his wonderful arias, and then the baritone, I felt it was right there. You know, it was studio recording right there. When she was singing, it was like she was 20 feet away.
Could be. I mean, I didn't notice because she was singing so well.
Well, it just me, because I've had a lot of recording studio experience as well,
Yeah.
so I have family in the business. So it just seemed to me that her miking was not the same, didn't have the same presence as.
I haven't noticed.
Okay, maybe it was just
I went to that one and I went to Romeo and Juliet, and I mean both were amazing, and well, Lisa was amazing in
yeah.
La Forest. So I don't know if there was like something there, but
I don't know.
even if he tried, I don't think that he could accomplish it because she sang so well that
Of course, she's saying so. I just didn't feel it was as present a sound. It's just between you and me. It's not really.
yeah, yeah.
But I mean, these are the issues. You know, we tell my students, you know, like in the musical theater, my teen musical theater students, I tell them, remember, you're going to have this little microphone here, so
It's
you
true.
don't have to give it so much right now. You can give a little less because the mic guy,
Save it a little bit,
yeah, you can
especially
say,
in musical theater. Yeah,
yeah,
can be tiring.
just get the squealo, get the flowing breath, get the diction, but you don't have to like really pump it out. So there are benefits from, you know, the musical theater
Mic.
person with the
Yeah.
mic. We don't have that in opera.
No, we don't.
No, we have to hear, we have to adjust all the time. Our ears have to be constantly adjusting to the
We have to pace also. We have
pace.
to pace our energy.
And sometimes the acoustics don't give us the feedback, and then we have to rely on the feeling.
That's true.
And Yvette, this was so nice to speak with you.
Yeah, it was. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm amazed, like, how people get together for a reason, and I'm very happy to have met you and, see your work and everything that you're doing, and somehow feeling that I'm doing things right also.
You're amazing. This is so fantastic. And now I know a lot more about the Costa Rica music department. I've been absolutely fascinated by this. Like, I have all these questions. I was going to write it all down, but I'm past the time when I write them down in my head. And like you were saying,
Yeah.
I meditate on what I want. And then I just ask to trust to be the channel for the
That's so
energy
true.
between the two people, because that's what's interesting too, is just the spontaneity and having the courage to say, okay, we're going to go online. Of course, I will check if I have to edit anything, but I don't think so. I mean, we could talk for hours and hours. I mean, I would want to pick your brain, like, what do you love about this role? And how did you learn this role? And how did you, maybe we could do that next time. Because seriously, it's having a discussion about how you, for example, let's say how you preparing for Magda, for example, or how, and how does one prepare for a Magda that's going to be maybe revised, or and according to the stage director's fantasies, or is it going to be traditional according to the story? I mean, all of those are issues I thought we would talk about, but we'll talk about it another time. How does one prepare and yet stay flexible for what the director is going to bring to you, which is quite frequently not at all what traditionally
What you have in mind. Yes, true.
yeah. So I mean, that kind of thing. And just in general, I think it's cool to say, well, how did you learn this role? What are the steps you took to prepare? So I speak about that a lot, about memorization and internalizing and making it part of yourself and connecting to the material. All these things, of course, more interpretation. We can talk another time.
Thank you. Well, anytime, I'm here, and now you know how to reach.
Right.
Thank you so much, Ada. And this one was great. And well, as I told you, I'm here.
Good. So let's keep in touch. And for those of you who are watching, please like, subscribe, and share. And if you have questions, put them down in your comments below. I'm going to stop the recording now. Thank you again, Yvette, for your time.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
many blessings to all that you're doing with your career and all the wonderful projects coming up and the students. And we'll be in touch. I'm going to
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Goodbye, everyone.